HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Actor's Mindset, Acting as a Craft, Discipline, and Business by Craig Archibald. Forward by Constance Wu. Read by Craig Archibald. For my parents, Florence and Cameron Archibald, whose love, integrity, fairness, humor, and sense of community have made me who I am. In loving memory of Stephen Victor Jakubowski and Daryl Neal Zorb.
Forward by Constance Wu. "You're watching yourself," he said. It was his only note. I'd just finished performing a monologue in my first private coaching session with Craig Archibald. To be honest, I hadn't been expecting much from him. I was a classically trained New York theater actor who'd recently moved to Los Angeles. New York actors are often snobby about LA upon arrival, and I'll admit that I was no exception. None of the other renowned LA acting coaches I'd tried had really clicked. I assumed that Craig would be the same, or maybe even worse, because he wasn't even one of the famous LA gurus. In fact, I'd found him purely by chance. In one of my lazier moments, his name had come up on a quick internet search for acting coaches via zip code. He was the closest to my apartment. If he sucks like all the others, I thought, at least I didn't have to sit in traffic too long. As a way of getting to know each other, he'd asked me to prepare a scene or monologue. I'd chosen to play Hannah from Tennessee Williams' Night of the Iguana. I thought I'd done great. Language, sense memory, character history, personalization, even tears. Everything that a conservatory-trained actor thought she should be. I felt good, proud. But I was so used to acting teachers trying to prove themselves and impress me with their notes, so I expected some criticism. But something about Craig's note felt different. "You're watching yourself." It pinched a nerve inside of me. Almost made me angry. Because with those 3 simple words, he'd cut to the heart of the matter. The stuff that classical training, New York snobbery, hard work, IMDb credits, even fame couldn't fake. The truth. He was right. I had been watching myself. Rather than using my heart to give life to the character, I was using the character to impress Craig with my acting. It had become about my performance, my actor ego. But what about the human being I was portraying? What of Hannah? At our best, we actors are selfless, giving ourselves over to the character. But at our worst, this selflessness can sour, crossing the line into the worst stereotypes of an actor: vanity, self-absorption, ego. It's hard to recognize this line because ego is so easily disguised, as dedication, righteousness, even humbleness can become its own type of vanity. That's why I needed someone like Craig, someone who would keep me paying attention, keep making me open my heart. You have to stay diligent in the craft, or your work can become quite static and contrived. I've been working steadily for almost a decade, yet I still struggle sometimes. I remember calling him in a panic one night after the second day of filming on a movie I was starring in. My instrument shut down. I hyperventilated, breathless with confusion. "I don't know what happened today. Yesterday I was so good." Usually, when the work is going well, my heart is open and free and full of surprises. It's a feeling both scary and exhilarating. It's a zone you can't force because it needs freedom and faith and play. I'd been in that zone on my previous good day, but the next day my heart had shut down and I'd been unable to connect emotionally to my character. I didn't understand. How had it changed so quickly? Because on that first day, I hadn't been watching myself on set, but I sure as hell had been replaying my performance in my head on the way home, and that's when I crossed the line. Rather than doing right by the character I was playing, I had been basking in my own success. And that's why my heart, with its own damn subconscious insurance plan, shut the fuck down, not letting me connect the next day. As if it were saying, nope, I'm not letting you use me for that. Not letting you use me for your ego. And that's how I ended up on the phone with Craig, confused and upset and feeling like the worst actor in the world. Craig immediately activated. Don't panic. This happens, he assured me. Here's what you need to do. Turn off your phone, relax, and go engage with art that isn't acting related, he said. Go to an art gallery or listen to classical music. Don't think about acting. I hung up the phone and turned it off. Poured myself a glass of wine, turned on some Mozart, got some colored pencils and paper. Outside my window, it was dark, and I looked at the apartment building across from mine. The windows of yellow light and the silhouetted people within. Families, couples, people alone. I began to draw them. Wild, juvenile portraits, scribbling with abandon. The Mozart and wine buzzing in my body, I began to wonder what their lives were like. How had their days been? Were they lonely? Instead of worrying about myself and my own performance, I went to bed thinking about the people in the building across the way. The next day, my heart was open again. See, on that phone call, Craig knew I'd crossed that tremulous line into ego, but rather than teaching me that lesson for the millionth time, he coached me, meeting me where I was, giving me not lessons, but tools for the present moment. It wasn't about him and his teachings. It was about helping me. Craig often says to his actors, make it about the other person. It's a Meisner-esque strategy he uses to improve an actor's listening in a scene. But in a larger sense, Craig's instruction to make it about the other person also means serving humanity. That's why Craig includes purpose as part of his actor's philosophy. It's a generous, holistic approach. I've seen him apply this in the way he coaches, too. Without judgment and without pride, he unearths an actor's specific obstacles and meets them where they are. It's been more than 10 years since that first coaching session with Craig. When I first met him, I was a struggling actor waiting tables to make ends meet. I'd lost faith in myself and hadn't booked a job in more than a year. Within a year of working with him, my work deepened in a way that was fulfilling even without booking a job. And shortly after that, I became a full-time working actor. And today, I've now acted in more than 100 episodes of television, starred in movies, and been nominated for awards. But that was never the goal. For those of us at the Archibald studio, success isn't fulfilled with an acting job or an Academy Award or a paycheck. It's in the present moment. In his living room, sitting in the pink chair, where acting isn't a job, but a vocation. Craig has been with me through all of it. On days of dark despair, he helped me find the strength to pull myself back up. And when I'd sometimes get lost in the manic highs of success, his acting class reminded me how being on the ground felt so much better than being in the air. I still go to Craig's group classes when I'm not working. I joke and call it my church, but jokes aside, I have often considered religion and art to have parallels. Like church, Craig's classes are a community of practitioners who hold a reverence for the mysteries and wonder of the human experience, who search for meaning in the present moment, who practice faithfully, who often falter and fall into ego and fear and righteousness, not because of the faith's flaws, but because we are humans practicing imperfectly. And how much fun it is to explore, to constantly be practicing, to never be perfect. How joyful the discovery of it is. He and I spend a lot of our private coaching sessions giddy with excitement. Ooh, that's so rich, we squeal when we discover a great character history possibility. Or, that doesn't fit right. Why doesn't that pinch me inside? I say when my gut doesn't twinge and we hunker down to brainstorm for something else. When either of us sees a great performance, we call each other and get so excited, practically pumping our fists in the air, and can talk about it for hours. Craig used to be a New York theater guy too, so we can geek out together over the brilliance of Tennessee Williams or August Wilson. He is my coach and my friend, my kindred spirit. I feel so grateful and lucky to have found him. I think you will too.
Preface. This book is for the storytellers of the world. It addresses the art of acting, but its principles weave through the performing arts, and I gladly welcome all artists interested in my take on the craft, discipline, and business of acting. Perhaps you will find applications to your life and art that prove helpful. Nothing would please me more. This book is also for the family and friends of actors. Often, the journey that actors embark upon seems so foreign and treacherous that family and friends feel deep concern for an actor or loved one's well-being. I know. I've been there. We love you for that. I hope this book will help you understand why the actor in your life has committed to an art and industry that is so difficult and yet so ultimately soul-fulfilling and life-rewarding. Finally, and most obviously, this book is for actors. I will share with you the knowledge I've gained in my several decades in the profession as an actor, coach, writer, director, and producer. I hope I can help you on your journey. I wrote this book because I wish I'd had someone like me to talk to when I started in the industry, someone I could trust to tell me the truth and do it kindly. I didn't have that person. I had to learn it the hard way. There is a purple haze of nonsense around our work as actors, a miasma of rumor, gossip, and fantasy. Much of it is counterproductive. Little of it is wise or helpful. I have experienced my full share, and I want no more of it. I've been an acting coach since 1995. Many of my clients have countless years of experience, which has given me a broad perspective. I have witnessed nearly every possibility of success and failure, bliss and disappointment, joy and heartbreak. In offering you what I believe to be the truth about both the art of acting and the broader film and television industry, I aim to give you clarity, to simplify your focus, and to help you achieve your goals faster and more easily so that you can succeed sooner and use that success to help our world become a better place. Nothing less. As an actor, you're part of a grand storytelling tradition. Storytellers entertain, educate, heal, and inspire. The stories we tell each other teach empathy, expand horizons, and help us understand different points of view. We mirror life so that the world sees itself and gains new perspectives. In making audiences laugh, cry, and feel deeply, we heal with laughter and love, with the recognition that others also suffer and rejoice. This industry can be particularly challenging, which makes it easy to adopt a victim mindset. I see this every day as I coach actors at the Archibald studio in Los Angeles. I battle this tendency towards self-pity with a simple but powerful dictum: make everything make you better. If you can use every difficulty as an inspiration to self-betterment, you change your mindset from victim to champion. Refuse to be a victim or to bemoan your plight, easy as it may be after yet another audition, another brusque dismissal, or another empty morning spent waiting for a callback. Make everything make you better. I've done it. I've taught it. I've seen it in action. It works. Actors have a special function in society. We have a special place in the vast tradition of storytellers. Storytelling is crucial to the advancement of society. Throughout history, storytellers have inspired humankind forward and onward to be the best we can be. In my opinion, succeeding as an actor means tapping into your authentic self, speaking your unique truth, and telling your singular story. In doing so, by tiny increments, you help to make our world a better place. Because life is difficult and wonderful, and there's always a new war to fight, a newborn to celebrate, or a newsworthy catastrophe to recover from. The world needs you to succeed. Who I am. As a kid growing up on the Canadian prairies in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, I always wanted to be an actor. In my first role at age 4, I was Peter Rabbit. I also had a real aptitude for dance. It was a natural part of my self-expression. I loved ballet, jazz, and tap. Though I focused on becoming an actor, my preferred workout came from dance. I was good, really good. The best boy in class, the best in school. Teachers would tell me how talented I was. In my fabulous imaginary world, I was a celebrated world-class actor and dancer. I'd daydream about all the acting, dancing roles I'd land. Move over, Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. Here comes Craig Archibald. In 1989, I auditioned for my first Broadway show. I can't even recall what show it was. Some new musical doing a trial run in a remote New Jersey theater before returning to New York for what everyone hoped would be a long run. Perfect. I would establish myself quickly and land on the Great White Way. I showed up bright and early at one of the big Broadway theaters for the open dance call. It was like the opening scene of Bob Fosse's film, All That Jazz. Hundreds of young dancers were preparing to audition. I was in heaven and hoped to be good enough to be invited back to the acting call the next day. I was given my number, 21, and guided to the holding area where all the Broadway brats of 1989 were preparing. Then came my first moment of doubt, the warm-up stretches. I was in sweatpants and sneakers. These guys were serious professionals. Lycra bodysuits, leg warmers, Capezio jazz shoes, effortless splits, plying their bodies into stretches that made my testicles retract. Oh, and the acrobatic warm-ups, the handstands, the flips, the round-offs. I daintily rolled my ankles in the corner, avoiding eye contact. With faltering bravado, I marched onto the enormous stage with my group of dancers. Out in the cavernous house was a long table with lights, and behind it the creative team, the director, the writer, the lyricist, the composer, the company stage manager, a few producers, and most importantly for me, the choreographer. The dance captain corralled us and began to call out the dance steps for the audition piece. To the left, glissade, assemblée, jeté. I'd been dance training for more than 10 years, but at this moment I was nervous and tense. All I heard was blakaha, abalaka, jabaka, ablé. I was way out of my league and in deep trouble. I eased my way back through the crowd of dancers, desperately searching for an exit door. There was none to be found. Here we go, one rehearsal, the dance captain barked. A 5, 6, 7, 8. En masse, following his direction, the dancers moved to the left. Then the turn to the right, and the group danced back across the stage. I tried to follow and learn the moves, but it was all too fast, too difficult. 32 beats, 16 to the left, 16 to the right, and finished. Okay, here we go, the suddenly terrifying dance captain announced. Let me see numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 downstage left, number 2 upstage center, and number 3 downstage right. On cue, 3 of the Broadway boys moved into position. With a brief count in, they were off, dancing brilliantly, nailing the jumps, turns, and kicks. The rest of us pooled upstage, flattening into a semicircle against the back wall, watching. Again, I searched for an exit. Nothing. The only way out was through. Years of class, sweat, and tears bubbled up in my heart. I bucked up and tried valiantly to learn the steps by watching. On we went. Numbers 4, 5, and 6. Smartasses added triple turns when only 2 were necessary. Numbers 7, 8, and 9. I focused with the concentration of a cornered cobra. Finally, the dreaded moment. Numbers 19, 20, and 21. Mind frozen, blood boiling, back solid as a rope, I took my place downstage right and looked out at that huge, beautiful Broadway house with the runway of creators behind the table. This was the moment I'd worked so hard for, and I was completely unprepared. A brief countdown. A 5, 6, 7, 8. And we were off. I did my best. To the left, stumbling, bumbling, and then to the right, again stretching, reaching, and failing miserably. The music ended. There was not a sound, just a pure and complete silence, as in deep outer space. It was over. My failure was a colossal and remarkable occasion my enemies would have enjoyed with glee. Humbled and humiliated, I turned to exit off stage right when I heard the dance captain call out, "Numbers 22, 23, and 21. Wait, what? I turned to the dance captain. He positioned me in the upstage center spot and looked me in the eye. "You're going to do it until you get it right, kid." My heart sank. Despair, humiliation. And so on we danced. Numbers 24, 25, and 21. Numbers 37, 38, and 21. Eventually, in the high 50s, I nailed the dance. There was a condescending smattering of applause from the high-bottomed boys. The dance captain said, "You may leave." "And you may kiss my ass," I thought as I exited stage right. Off stage, I mopped the sweat from my face with my t-shirt and tried to calm myself. I was approached by an assistant stage manager named Todd. "They want to see you at the table." "Who? The creative team?" I followed him out into the dark, air-conditioned theater. On the stage, the dancing boys continued. No one else was being made to do it until you do it right, kid. As we approached the table, I could see the faces of the creative team behind the lights. They were all smiles. "Oh my God," the director said with a big grin. "What is your name?" "Craig Archibald," I answered breathlessly. "That was fantastic. You are very brave, Mr. Archibald." "Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't—" No. We need brave boys like you. Can you act?" "Yes, sir," I replied. "Did you study?" "Yes, sir, at the neighborhood playhouse." "With Sandy Meisner?" "Yes, sir." "Good. Well, okay, Craig Archibald. We'll be seeing people tomorrow for the acting roles. Todd will give you the sides to prepare. We look forward to seeing your work." I could barely believe my ears. The gods had been generous. "Thank you, sir. Thank you." As Todd led me away, the choreographer spoke up. "Are you sure you can act?" I turned and looked at him, at all of them, and replied with my biggest Broadway grin. "You bet." "Thank Christ," the choreographer replied, "because you sure as shit can't dance." Fuck it. So long, Fred Astaire. Hello, Marlon Brando. Part 1. The Craft. 1. Your Journey. I love actors. I love our art form. I celebrate the remarkable bravery it takes to choose this business as a profession. I salute your commitment. I believe in you. I am on your side. When you work with me at the Archibald Studio, we begin by looking at your foundation both as an actor and as an entrepreneur. Without a proper foundation, on what will you build an enduring career? In Hollywood, the earth quakes, in more ways than one. You might be the smartest kid in Albuquerque or the standout in your college acting class, but Hollywood doesn't care. Here, you're just another wannabe. Take time to self-investigate. Keep a journal. Use therapy as a means of self-exploration. Think about your art, your method, your business, and your life. Take the tools I offer you and work on yourself. If you really want to succeed, you need to be your best self. You need to focus and work hard. It's a long road. As Sanford Meisner said, it takes 20 years to become an artist. He explained that the first 10 years are spent in the technical study of the art, mastering the techniques and methods of your art form. The second 10 years are spent in the mastery of the craft of your work. Finally, after 20 years of diligence, you'll be so deeply connected to your work that you won't need to think about technique or craft. Your art will simply flow. It is also imperative that you check your foundation as a business person. This may sound scary to you. It does to many artists. But if you want to succeed, you must become an entrepreneur. You own a business which provides a service called acting in a marketplace called Hollywood. Because many other entrepreneurs provide the same service, you must make certain that yours is the best it can be. Ultimately, your goal is to grow a small business into a large one. It starts with understanding that you need to be wise about the industry in which you operate. You must provide such a unique and valuable service that there will be no doubt of your success. I have no interest in being your guru. I am your coach. You are not my student, you are my client. It's an important distinction. Smart business people hire smart advisors. One of the best parts of being an entrepreneur is this. The people in your life who do not understand what being an actor entails, or why you would choose to celebrate your talent for storytelling, usually do understand and respect entrepreneurship. So the next time you have a difficult conversation with your father, mother, grandparent, or best friend who thinks you're being silly, stupid, or self-indulgent, just tell them you're an entrepreneur in show business. An important lesson that every young actor must learn is this. You are enough as you are. I mentioned the purple haze of nonsense around acting. The images we receive from movies, television, magazines, and social media suggest that you have to strive to attain a type of physical perfection, that you have to be sexy or cool. Not so. Yes, you need to be healthy. Yes, you need to be in good shape. Yes, you need to constantly seek to be your best. But in doing so, don't forget that the most important part of you is not your cheekbones or skin tone. The most important part of you is your heart. That's your most valuable asset. Do not attempt to be like other actors. Celebrate your individuality. Bring your unique soul to the work. Often, it's one's essence, one's spirit that makes the difference between who gets a job and who doesn't. This is not an invitation to be silly. Performing and sensationalizing an idea of quirky or sexy or cool is off-putting. Simply be yourself and be professional. As I say in class, the wrapping may be as pretty as you like, but the present is what's inside the box. Remember, at the end of the day, that you are a storyteller. In successful storytelling, there's a crucial moment called the catharsis, the climax, the release of powerful suppressed emotion. It's the moment when the audience members fully click with the material. They have a personal, deeply intimate response to your work. Have you seen E.T. the Extraterrestrial? All of director Steven Spielberg's elements of filmmaking work beautifully toward the catharsis. When the magic of E.T. lifts the boys on the bikes to help them escape, it's a remarkable moment. The actors, the art direction, the music, and the audience's suspended disbelief all come together to create a magnificent emotional release. Catharsis is achieved only if the audience believes the character to be so real that they're willing to suspend their disbelief and actively invest in the character. On one level, they know they're watching a movie, sure, but if they believe the actors implicitly, they suspend that disbelief. If they trust the actors, the piece will do what it's intended to do: entertain, educate, heal, and inspire the audience. When that magic happens, the artist has succeeded. Victim or champion? You have a fundamental choice in life. You can be a victim or a champion. I insist that my clients choose champion. It isn't always easy. Negative thoughts can overwhelm a peaceful mind, especially in our increasing...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?